right, so we're going to open up the practice problems that you're going to submit later. And I'm just going to have the practice problems on the screen. This is what they should look like. I expect you to have your practice problems on the screen, and then we'll go through them in the notebook. I'll show you how to do your work. But let's go ahead and read the instructions. It says, here are several aids that will help you solve word problems. So these are like tricks you can go back to. Make sure you understand the question that is asked. Sort out the information to make a basic percent problem, just like we did with that lab. So we had to sort out the beans, we had to sort out the beads, you got to sort out your information. Sometimes you'll have to subtract or add some of the numbers. So just like in the lab that we did, we had to add together the contaminants. The beans were not what we wanted in our soil mix. The base will always be the original number, price, or total. So when we're thinking about that, the original number is the whole, the total of the mixture. So here's some example word problems that you guys can kind of walk through on your own, but we'll go through this first one. A baseball pitcher won 80% of the games he pitched. If he pitched 35 ball games, how many games did he win? You're really asking yourself, 80% of 35 is what? Okay, multiply the opposites. So what percent did he win? Out of 35, we can do this math, multiply the opposites, divide the remaining number. You've probably done this in earlier years of school. All right, so let's go ahead to some problems besides just examples so you know what to write. So you could go through these examples on your own. So we're kind of scrolling down. And the actual work that for you to do is right here. Okay. So it says set up a basic percent problem. Sometimes you will have to do extra steps to solve the problem, follow rounding directions, answers, and solutions start on page 6. So yeah, you get solutions, but I need to see the work. A student earned a grade of 80% on a math test that had 20 problems. How many problems on this test did the student answer correctly? Round to the nearest whole number. Well, so a student earned a grade of 80%. We're going to do 80%. This is number 1. What's the normal percent? What is like the best percent you can get on a test? 100. So we know that's going to be our whole. Then we come back to our problem. It says that on a math test that had 20 problems, how many problems on this test did the student answer correctly? Well, if the test had 20 problems, that's going to be the whole. So we multiply these two together, 80. So we're going to get and then we divide. So whoever said, isn't it 16? So we're going to divide by 100. You are going to be, this is going to be super easy for you. All right. So then you could write out the student got 16 right. That is a perfect response. All right. Okay, so let's go to the second problem. The second problem says, there are 36 carpenters on a crew. On a certain day, 29 were present. What percent showed up for work? Round to the nearest tenth. So here's one that's more like what we were doing with the lab. Okay. If we know 29 is how many were there and 36 were how many should have been there, we're going to take the part divided by the whole and times 100. So let's do that on our paper. Number 2, we're going to go part divided by whole times 100. So what does that look like? We had 29 workers there out of 36, and we're going to times 100. Yeah. So we get 80.5, so 81. So then we would write out 81%. Okay, give me a thumbs up if this is kind of easy and you kind of understand what we're doing here. Okay, all right. All right, so I'm going to let you go ahead and work so you have time to finish it then. I will come around and check on you, make sure you're doing all right, and then we'll work in.